So everyone's settled in? Yeah? Cool. I just wanted to thank you for coming out tonight. It really means a lot to me that you're here to help. This is who we're trying to find. This is my father, Raymond. Have you seen him? He works at the hotel just down the street, and I just haven't been able to find him, or well, really get a hold of him for the past few weeks. And he does this thing every October for a week. He goes off the grid, like this, like digital detox. But it's been more than a week, and I have a key to his place, and he wasn't there, and nothing seemed out of place. But I did find something. My dad has the wildest imagination. He will write these fantastical stories about people encountering the mythical creatures of the Philippines. He usually gets really inspired after his week of digital detoxing. Like there was this one time he told me that in the Philippines, there is this belief that there is a spirit realm that sits right above our physical realm. And this is where monsters and ghosts and land spirits live. And most people go their entire lives without being aware that these exist, right? But some people can see them, can see both, like psychics or albedarios. And if you can see the spirits, they can see you. So, exactly. Like, who knows what's around us right now that we can't see? But I don't know. My dad's always messing with me, so I don't know if I believe any of that stuff. Like, do you? No? Maybe. You think you do? You want to? Maybe. Skeptics. Maybe. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, you okay? Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like if it was all real, like, wouldn't we have seen something by now? You know? Yeah. And my dad. I mean, his stories were the best. They are the best. He has this knack for relating things back to something that's happening in my life. Like, so he'll make these little books like this one every time there's something major in my life, like my first piano recital, or when I went to college, or the first time I had my legal sip of Red Horse. They were these amazing stories with like incredible insight, you know. And I just didn't want to read this alone. You know, I just don't know like what kind of lessons are in here. So I just really wanted to thank you all for being here. So let's see what he has to say. Okay. Reunite with a lost loved one. There's like instructions and like a spell or something. Okay, wait, I just had this thought. I know that my dad loves a good practical joke. Yeah, you already know this is going. And I just feel like, what if this is like some elaborate way of him throwing me some crazy surprise party? Like, this is the man who was screaming in pain underneath a car, and then he just like got up from the ground and yelled, "Happy birthday, here are your key cards." Like, and I was like, oh my God. Like, so I bet he's watching right now. Okay, so let's just say the spell and see what happens. So the more people who participate, the more likely it will be a success. Everybody hold hands if you're okay with that, or maybe energetically held hands. Hold the image of the person you are trying to reunite with in your mind, which would be my father. So just keep him in your heads. Okay, here we go. We call in the spirits of the west, of water, the ocean. We call in the spirits of the north, of earth, the sand. We call in the spirits of the east, of air, the ocean breeze. We call in the spirits of the south, of fire, the dancing flames before us. We call in the spirits of the upper, middle, and lower realms. We humbly ask that you guide us. Help us connect with the ones we have lost. If he is in the darkness, bring him to the light. We'll find him no matter what the... Did you guys hear that? It's working. We'll find him no matter what the cost. Shiwanawa. Okay, Dad. You got us. Really funny. Okay. Well, there's a lot of pages in here, so maybe he's waiting until the end. I don't know. The Chosen Boy. On a Wednesday night, decades ago, a 12-year-old boy died just for a minute. He swam the beaches of Cebu on his own all the time. He loved being out in the water. The gentle sound of waves whispered in his ears, the sun kissing his black hair, the breeze caressing his face, the warm water soothing his bruises. The ocean was where he could get away, to feel loved. One night, he snuck out of his house with a stuffed backpack filled with all his belongings. He hobbled to his favorite stretch of the beach, not too far away. It was tucked away just enough so it wasn't tainted by tourists. The water was also so clean and so clear that he could see the sand beneath from the top. He plopped down from the shore, the water gently lapping at his feet, inviting him to come inside. The boy wiped away his tears with his sandy hands. He was tired, lonely, and scared. Eventually, he laid on his side and fell asleep to the ocean's lullaby. He snapped awake when he found himself being swept away by a massive wave, unlike anything he'd ever seen before. The wave tossed the boy deeper and deeper into the ocean like a rag doll. The boy tried to fight the current, but it was much too powerful. He found himself sinking, being pulled down by his heavy backpack. He tried to throw the bag off, but it felt so tight against his body that he couldn't remove it. The boy sank deeper and deeper, and his chest squeezed tighter and tighter. And then he saw a light above him. At first, he thought that it was the moon, but the light became bigger and brighter until it engulfed his entire body. His chest relaxed, his calves cooled down, and he felt completely at peace. But a moment later, he then awoke on the shore, coughing up a fountain. Above him was a man, kneeling over him. The moon was above his head, so he couldn't quite make out his face. "Are you okay?" What happened?" the little boy stammered. "Well, I was over there taking photos of the ocean, and I heard you. I saw you go under the water, but I didn't see you resurface, so I rushed out to pull you out." The little boy was a little dazed, but overcome with gratitude. He wrapped his little arms around the man who was still extremely cold from the water. "Oh, it's okay, little guy. I got you." He pulled the boy onto his feet, and they walked along the beach together. The boy looked up at the man, seeing his features for the first time. He didn't look like he was from here. He had nearly white blonde hair, bright green eyes, and a perfectly tailored button-up shirt with a pattern of leaves. He could have been in his 40s, but everyone looks older when you're a kid. He said his name was Sven, and that he owned one of the resorts nearby. It was then that the boy realized he had lost his backpack. It had everything I owned, and now it's gone. "What were you doing out on the beach with everything you own?" Sven asked. The boy looked down, almost embarrassed. But Sven placed a comforting hand on his shoulder and told him he wouldn't have to worry, that he told the boy it was important for him to take care of all of the locals, especially the kids. "Things can be replaced," said Sven. "I'm happy that you're safe, and I can see that you're still very shaken up. I know something that might make you feel better. Have you ever been on a helicopter?" The boy shook his head. So Sven led the boy to his helipad, and they flew all over the island. The boy had lived there his entire life, but he had never seen the island from this view. It was absolutely breathtaking. And when they came back to the resort, the boy was still surging with adrenaline. He didn't want the night to end. So Sven took him back to his executive suite at his resort and treated him to a lavish meal of seafood, lechon, and the freshest fruit. "This is the best meal I have ever had," said the boy, who was shoveling food into his mouth. "Oh, I'm glad you're enjoying yourself," said Sven. "But, you will have to go back home to your family. They must be worried sick. They won't even care that I'm gone." "Well, that's not true. Hey. I have been your age. Believe me, I remember what it was like. You have to return to your family. You just have to. You don't know them. I can't go back there. Well, maybe you just need to sleep off your anger. If you want, I can take you on another adventure tomorrow. I promise." And reluctantly, the boy headed back to his house, taking his time, dreading each step. Maybe Sven was right. He couldn't just run away. As the boy got closer to his house, he began hearing loud, booming voices calling him. "Come back to us. Where are you? We miss you. We need you." The boy felt back in surprise and ran the opposite direction. The voices became quieter and further away as he ran. Unsure of what to do, he ran back to Sven's resort. Sven was standing at the entrance, taking photos. Sven, help! I'm hearing voices!" The little boy cried in horror. I don't know what's happening. Please, you have to help me." Hey, it's okay," Sven explained. You're not going crazy. Are you sure you're not just trying to run away?" "I'm not lying. The voices got louder at the beach." A look of realization washed over Sven's face. I see what's happening. Earlier today when I saved you, you had been dead for about a minute. That beach is where you crossed to the other side, the spirit realm. And what you did was created a portal. And as long as that portal is open, you won't be safe. You'll need to wait for it to fade away. But who are the voices?" "The spirits on the other side. See, when you died, they were excited because someone new was joining them. But then when you came back to life, they became angry. They want you to come back. But don't worry, you'll be safe as long as you stay away from that beach for a while." "Oh, but then how will I get back home?" "I thought you didn't want to go home." "No, I don't. I don't know where to go." Sven placed his hand on the boy's shoulder. "I have plenty of vacant rooms. You can stay with me until the portal closes, or however long you wish." The boy had never known such kindness and generosity. So the boy decided to stay in a vacant room, at least for the night, or until the voices stopped, or until the portal was closed. And for the next few days, the boy stayed away from the beach. He had planned on never returning home, but not being able to visit his favorite place in the world was hitting him harder than he expected. Sven could tell the boy was having a hard time, and so continued to take him on grand adventures around the island to cheer him up, tearing through the jungle on ATVs, trekking through the waterfalls. But eventually, the boy had had enough. One night, after they returned from a long day of hiking and ziplining, instead of going to his room at the resort, the boy looked out at the beach. He could hear the voices ever so faintly. "Where are you? We need you." He was tired of being dictated by these voices. So he ran as fast as he could toward the water. The voices grew louder. "Where are you? We need you." He could hear Sven calling back to him, but The boy kept running, and just when the voices started screeching a crescendo, "Where are you? We need you! Where are you? We need you!" he found himself lying on the sand, coughing up water. He could make out the backlit silhouette of his mother kneeling over him, along with his cousins. "Ay, sus Marioset, my baby is alive!" his mother exclaimed as she hugged him over and over. "We thought we had lost you. You were out for a couple minutes." The boy was in such a daze, but happy to be back in his favorite place. He felt confused that his mother held him tight against her chest. It felt completely foreign, but then it felt comforting, and he hugged her back, tears streaming from his face. And the boy looked around the beach, looking for his pal Sven. And then he noticed someone standing by the trees. It was Sven, but his skin was now wrinkled like old leather. His green eyes were now a haunting crimson. The boy watched as Sven wrapped fingers around his neck. And as he did, the boy winced from a heat on his own neck. 3 burn marks appeared. The boy looked back at Sven, who slowly started fading away. A voice echoed loudly in his head. "We'll be back for you." Okay, well, that was a lot darker than my dad's stories usually are. Does anyone know what kind of lesson my dad wanted me to learn from that? Don't go swimming in the ocean? That's good. I think you had a thought. No? I just think, like, don't talk to strangers, but like that's for everyone. I don't. Dad? Sorry, I thought I heard something, but maybe that was just the. Okay, well, there is another story. Maybe this one will be more helpful. Chapter 2, the Tiqui's Test. Deep in the heart of the island of Iloilo, a man and his wife were a month away from expecting their new baby. Aw. They had been having trouble conceiving ever since they started trying, a point of contention that haunted their marriage for the last few years. So this baby was truly a miracle that the man secretly wasn't sure he wanted. But he was stuck on this island where his breadwinning wife made them live in isolation for the last 8 months, hoping to safely carry the baby before the tiqui could snatch it. The tiqui, also known as the manananggal, was a highly feared creature in all of the Philippines. It was said that it looks just like a regular woman during the day, and at night it separates its upper body from its legs, grows wings, and flies around the night looking for unborn children. It can smell one from miles away. And when it finds the home of a pregnant person, it will climb on the roof above them and shoot its long proboscis-like tongue into the victim's belly and suck out the unborn baby. So the woman ordered her husband to take every precaution. He set up sharpened bamboo posts all around the temporary home. He hung up strings of garlic to mask the scent. He placed bowls of oil on the windowsills. And he was commanded to walk the perimeter every hour, armed with a bow and arrow, to listen for the tiqui's hunting cry. The man thought that this was absolute overkill. The 8 months that they'd been here, he had never seen or heard a hint of a tiqui. He was losing his goddamn mind protecting a child, and if he was being honest with himself, a woman that he didn't want in his life. One night, the man was outside as usual, walking the perimeter, listening for the sounds he knew he wasn't going to hear, looking for the signs he knew he wasn't going to see. And as he walked, he thought about how he got himself into this mess. Everything seemed fine in the beginning. Did he miss major red flags? Did he change? Did she change? And he stopped in his tracks, and he decided he had enough. He wasn't going to put up with her shit anymore. They were going to get off this island, whether she liked it or not. Fueled by his anger, he snapped the bow and arrow in half. He kicked down the bamboo posts, and he pulled off the garlic and tossed the bowls of oil. He burst through the door where the woman was sitting at the dinner table. "We are getting the fuck out of here," he shouted in a tone that he had never used with his wife before, but she had used definitely with him many times. "We are getting the fuck off this island." That familiar look of disapproval and annoyance washed over the woman's face. She stood up, ready to put him back in his place, when she hunched over in pain. The man thought she might be trying to put on a show to guilt him, so he remained standing tall and repeated, "We are getting the fuck out of here." The woman yelled in agony again as the floor beneath them became drenched. The couple looked at each other. The baby was coming. Oh my God! And right above them, they heard a slow sound of scratching. The couple looked back at each other, and for a minute, for the first time in a very long time, they had a feeling and sense of complete understanding of one another. They needed to be as quiet as possible. Once the baby was out, they would be in the clear. But it only wants the baby when it is unborn. They just have to get the baby out. He wrapped a napkin around his wife's mouth to stifle her scream. Screech, screech, screech. He slowly laid her on the ground. Screech, screech, screech. He stroked her hair and comforted her as she pushed. Screech, screech, screech. She was doing a great job. She totally could handle this, and she had this. They were gonna make it, and then boom! The tiqui burst through the roof, screeching in hunger. It was the most disgusting thing the man had ever imagined. Its exposed intestines dangled and sprayed blood and waste all over the house as it hovered over the couple. Its massive wings broke off pieces of the ceiling. Everything that the man had been worried about didn't matter anymore. All he cared about was protecting his wife and their baby. He threw everything he could with his hands at the monster, utensils, bowls, and plates, but the tiqui swatted them away and continued to make its way toward the woman. The man grabbed a chair and held the legs outward and used his body as a force and a barrier between his wife and the monster. The tiqui bit the man's hand, but he didn't let go, even when blood tainted the chair. The man's adrenaline had made him an unexpected match for the monster's strength. He had never felt so alive. He pushed and pushed as she pushed and pushed, and the struggle continued until the room filled with the cries of a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And the tiqui, no longer interested, flew back out the hole it created in the roof. The woman fell back in exhaustion. The man kissed his wife and cut the cord. They looked lovingly into each other's eyes. They were a team again, just like before. But they just added a new team member. And everything was going to be different now. The woman's eyes grew wide as she sat back and screeched in pain again. Ah! The man thought, there's no way. There's no way. The woman grunted in agony while the man just stared, completely motionless. And then it was that moment that the tiqui flew back through the roof, darting its long tongue into the woman's belly button. It mercilessly ripped out a second baby and disappeared into the night sky. It happened within a matter of seconds. while the man just watched, too stunned to do anything. The woman grasped as she tried in vain to cover her now exposed and gushing uterus. The man grabbed a towel and tried to stop the bleeding, but both of them knew it was useless. The woman laid her head back down on the floor and took her last breath. What the fuck just happened? The man, that's all that he could think. How the fuck did I just let this happen? He snapped out of his thought loop when his baby girl began to cry, and he picked her up and held her to his chest. Every doubt that he felt about becoming a father was long gone. Nothing else mattered except for keeping this tiny human safe. I will never let the monsters win again, he whispered into her ear. I will always protect you. He held her out in front of him, his eyes completely useless with tears. And as he looked her over, he noticed something. He wiped his eyes and looked closer. On her neck were 3 tiny marks. That was kind of a lot. My dad's stories aren't usually this sad. What do you think you wanted me to get from that? I just feel like I've wasted all of your time. No, I don't know. I don't get these stories. Normally it's very easy for me to understand, right? And I don't know if this is like some big fucking prank that he's trying to pull, but I don't know. There is one more story. I don't know if you want to hear it. Yeah, okay. Here we go. The Serena's Deal. There once was a man heavily in debt due to years of hiding his pain in underground vices. He worked at a beachfront hotel as a housekeeper. Every night, he would mop and clean the hot tub room, which was a small room to the right of the pool area. It was almost never occupied. Then he noticed, for the past several nights, there was a woman who would drink by herself in the hot tub, humming a somber tune. She was strikingly beautiful. Long, wavy black hair framed her soft face. Her bright brown eyes pierced into his soul whenever they made contact. She would quietly sip her cocktail while she watched the man as he cleaned, never saying a word, just watching. One night, the man decided to break the ice. You have a beautiful voice, ma'am. Oh, aren't you sweet? Her voice was smooth and sultry. I was wondering how long it would take you to talk to me. The man swallowed nervously. Where are you now? The woman giggled. Oh, relax, cutie. We're just making conversation. The man patted the cement outside the hot tub near her. The man sat down. The woman held her drink up to him. It seems like you could use this. So the man took the glass, took a tiny sip, and handed it back. So, what brings you to town? The woman smiled. I live nearby, she replied. I love coming to hotels, giving myself a treat. Makes me feel like I'm on a little vacation. Wow, that sounds really nice. Why do you sound so sad? You can take vacations too. You laughed. I can't afford to take vacations or any time off. The woman leaned over the edge of the hot tub, placing her head on her hands and fluttering her lids. I know your type. I know that you love working hard. Makes you feel good and moral. And you believe that treating yourself well is selfish. Do you think I'm selfish? I wouldn't say that. No, I don't even know you. But I have to admit, spending time and money on a hotel on a whim, I would say that you're free. I was gonna say privileged. The woman chuckled. Well, you're not wrong. Would you think any better of me if I offered you a chance to feel privileged? I'm not sure I know what you mean. The woman leaned in a little closer. I've been watching you, and I can see how hard you try to work to hide your pain. Excuse me? I buried a box filled with over $300,000 in cash on this beach, and I want you to have it. The man laughed. He knew there had to be something odd about this woman, and she was definitely proving him right. But as odd as it seemed, she still piqued his curiosity. Okay, let's say that I believe you for a second. Why would you offer a total stranger all that money? I live alone. I work alone. Can you blame me for trying to have some fun? The man fell silent. He wasn't sure if he was the butt of some very sick joke, but if this was real, that was enough money that he could pay off all his debts. He could quit his second job. So what's the catch then? Well, I love it here, but I'm not actually a citizen. And I've been looking for someone who could help me with that. And let's just say, I wouldn't mind playing house with you. The man smirked and nodded knowingly. He knew people who got into these arrangements, and he became silently lost in thought. Is there a problem? I don't see a ring on that finger. I know, no, but I have a teenage daughter, and I don't think she would understand. Well, who said you need to tell her? The man continued to stare, and then he began to laugh at yourself. You rich people, you really are something. Good night. The man left, shaking his head. But as he lay in bed, he couldn't stop thinking about the woman's proposition. It was a lot of money. And probably it wouldn't be that hard to keep this from his daughter. And no one would really have to know, considering how much she was offering. The woman wasn't really asking for that much in return, right? So the next day, as he predicted, the woman was alone in the hot tub drinking her gin and tonic, humming her sweet melody. Her eyes lit up when she saw him. Give me the directions to the money, he said, and if it really is there, then let's get married. The woman smiled, shook the man's hand, and gave him instructions to the buried money. The next day, the man found the tree that was far to the right of the hotel, and after an hour of digging, his shovel hit a metal box. Inside was $300,000 in cash, just like she said. He couldn't believe it. He immediately set out to pay off all his debts. He felt happy, free. When he came back to the hotel later that day, he went to the hot tub, and just as he thought, she was sitting there, drink in her hand, humming her tune. Well, don't you look happier? Thank you. Thank you so much. Seriously, I have never felt this blessed. My life has never been kind to me. But you are a literal angel. The woman held her hand to her heart. Well, when you have all the money in the world, you have to find ways to make yourself happy. But I really should be thanking you, my dear. The man's eyes darted around. Uh, yes, of course. So how should we do this? Should we go to the courthouse tomorrow, or... The woman's smile morphed from friendly to sinister. No need. You already made the deal, babe. I'm not sure what you mean. The woman closed her eyes and threw back her head when she cackled. The piercing sound reverberated in the small room. The man's brow began to bead with sweat. There was something seriously wrong with this woman. She looked back at the man. Her deep brown eyes were now a fiery red. You are already mine. As she placed her hands on the concrete, her fingernails grew into long talons. Her sharp teeth pushed out from her plump lips. She slowly hoisted herself up over the edge of the jacuzzi, and from underneath the jacuzzi, there emerged a large fishtail that splashed around violently, drenching the man completely. He realized his mistake. He had made a deal with a Serena. Now these are not the mermaids that you will find in a Disney movie. Serenas are sneaky, selfish, and bloodthirsty. They loved to feed on humans. You would most likely encounter a Serena far out into the ocean, singing their tantalizing tune, luring sailors and fishermen to come close enough for them to attack. Some Serenas like to play the damsel in distress as they flail along in the waves, screaming and crying, hoping someone would come and save them. And when someone does, she goes in for the kill. Sometimes a Serena will fall in love with a human, and if she can convince that human to marry her, then that human becomes bound to them in the spirit realm after having life sucked out of them first, of course. The man couldn't believe he had fallen victim to an incredibly clever Serena. It's time to join me, babe, the Serena croaked, her voice deeper and darker than ever before. Please, you can't even get out of the water, the man exclaimed with feigned bravery, and he turned to run out the door. Suddenly, three massive figures made from shadows manifested before him, blocking his path. They grabbed his limbs and pinned him to the ground. The Serena pulled herself out of the hot tub and slithered her way toward him, shoving her face right against his. I have a lot of friends, Sweet Pea. And if you go off on our deal, we will make your life a living hell. Even more than it already is. I just love sad little men. They're always the easiest to take. The Serena grabbed the man's face and pulled him in for a bite. Wait! I'll make you another deal. The Serena's ears perked up. There's a cliff hike nearby. It overlooks the water. People fall in all the time. What if I pushed people hiking alone over the edge so that you could feed on them down below? The woman cocked her head as she considered the offer. My. You are twisted. I could live with that. But you're who I really want. She leaned in again. Wait. What if I was yours once a year? The Serena's eyes narrowed. Go on. Uh, what if once a year I tie a weight on my arm and we walk out into the ocean. I drown myself, and then we could be together in the spirit realm. But you have to bring me back after a week, and you have to promise to leave me and my daughter alone in our realm. The Serena stared into the man's eyes, inches from her own. The fire in her eyes faded back into a deep brown. Her teeth shrunk back from her lips. I usually don't negotiate like this, but I like you. I'll hold up my end as long as you hold up yours. She held out her hand. And so, from then on, the man would hide in the trees on the hikes, waiting for solo hikers to pass by before shoving them over with a tree branch. And then, once every October, he would tie a weight to his arm and walk out into the ocean where he would allow himself to drown. And once a human week had passed, the Serena would toss him back onto the shore where he would return to his life, but never be the same. He continued this cycle for years, dying, being reborn, dying again. He noticed that each time he was reborn, he longed for death. Colors were brighter in the spirit realm. Sensations were heightened. Pain was almost non-existent. Maybe it wouldn't be that bad to stay forever. My dearest Nicole, it's about that time again for me to walk out into the water. But this time I will not return. These monsters won't stop making my life miserable until I join them. Sven is here now with me, and I asked him why me, and he said because the broken ones are easiest to take. This was always going to be my fate, and I'm too tired to fight anymore. I made them promise not to harm you all these years, but now that I'll be on the other side, I have no way of protecting you from them. They're going to come from you now, and anyone you bring into this world, in any way they can, by land, by air, and by sea. They will find you. Our entire line has been scarred because of me, and I'm so sorry, my sweet Nicole. Please don't go looking for me, but if you do, you will know how. Well, this is your biggest surprise to date, Dad. You fucking got me. I think I'd like to try the spell one more time, if you don't mind. If we could just hold hands. We call in the spirits of the west, of water, the ocean. We call in the spirits of the north, of earth, the sand. We call in the spirits of the east, of air, the ocean breeze. We call in the spirits of the south, of fire, the dancing flames before us. We call in the spirits of the upper, middle, and lower realms. We humbly ask that you guide us tonight. Help us connect with the ones we have lost. If he is in the darkness, bring him to the light. We will find him, no matter what the cost. No. There. There, do you hear it? Hi. Thank you. Thank you all for helping me find my dad. I just wish that it had ended differently for all of us. Uh, they won't be coming for us any longer, Dad. It ends tonight.